Welcome to the new decade, and with the new decade, we're going to have some changes in this e-letter. Uh, I've been doing flu for 20 years now, intending to bring updates every month into Wisconsin law and law around the nation, along with contributors who've helped in terms of information on such things as taxes, business valuation, and adoptions. I'm going to keep doing an e-letter, but it's going to be different from what you've seen. Some of that you'll see a little bit in this issue, but certainly in upcoming issues. Let me just explain a little bit of the basis of it. The concept is to transition from an e-letter that deals exclusively or primarily with case law that can be used for arguing briefs, litigation essentially, into something that is more consistent with what attorneys actually do in their practice, and that is settlement and mediate. As I've written about, spoken about a number of times over the years, in the biggest change in the practice of family law in the 30 plus years I've been doing it. I started when I was 6 years old, in case you're counting. Seems like an awfully long time, huh? But the biggest change is in the lessening of litigation and the increased proliferation of settlement. I actually started in this firm. I was hired out of the DA's office to be the firm's litigator. And I was in court constantly trying hearings, family court commissioner hearings, prejudgment motions, trials, post-judgment, and doing appeals. Over the course of those 30 plus years, the practice has transitioned into one that was primarily litigation to one that's almost exclusively settlement. And our settlement rate in our firm's been 95 to 98% over the last few years. I've also come to understand and learn over the years that while many lawyers seem to think that settlement is intuitive, you negotiate starting high, compromise low, or vice versa, that there is a lot of information, knowledge, strategy, ways of doing settlement that is available out there for attorneys in this field if they wish to avail themselves of it. Harvard does a business negotiation course for business people that negotiate, and businesses spend thousands and thousands of dollars to send people to that. And I've been working over the years to try to transition to trying to learn more about the various strategies that go into negotiations, and doing it myself by taking some of the courses, becoming certified as a mediator, and doing more mediation, both in terms of representing clients and as a mediator. And I'm proud that one of those efforts led to my authoring the book on settlement negotiation techniques for the ABA family law section. I'm very proud that they just asked me if I would do a second edition of the book, which I agreed to do, and hopefully it'll be coming out sometime late last year. Anytime you write or speak on something, you end up learning more in the process of researching it and trying to decide what to say than probably you teach the audience. And it's been really a pleasure to learn how much is out there in terms of strategies, in terms of knowledge, in terms of ways of doing settlement that end up benefiting our clients and their families. And the longer that I've practiced in family law, the more I've come to the conclusion that as lawyers, we should not be gladiators. Two gladiators would go into the arena, one would die, the other would come out alive. That's not what we're doing here. If there are children involved, and it doesn't matter if they're minor children or adult children, they're affected by what we do. And I'm convinced that not only what we do, but how we do it is helpful to these children in terms of avoiding fighting and litigation, and that by helping the children, by resolving the case between the parents, we're actually doing our clients a service. At the end of the game, the story goes, nobody has ever lay in their deathbed and said, I wish I had more money. But they have laid in their deathbed and said, I wish my children were here with me. I wish I'd been a better parent during the course of my life. Well, as lawyers, there's a lot we can do to help people doing that. And I'm going to take what is currently called flu, which I've been putting out through Loeb Herman for the last 20 years, and I'm going to reposition it. It'll still go out monthly. You don't have to change your subscription or anything, but it's going to be more focused on things that lawyers actually do in our practice, and that is to prepare clients for the concept of compromise and settlement, to negotiate, to represent clients in mediation, and to mediate cases themselves. Not 100% sure of the form this is going to take over the next few years, but I'll let you know. For one thing, I'll be eliminating certain sections of flu that I don't think are germane to the task, and hopefully providing more information in terms of how lawyers can not just negotiate and settle cases, because we all do that, but do it in a means and a manner which benefits our clients, their children, and the entire family. We call ourselves family law attorneys. Well, let's act like it. Let's see what we can do to help the family as a whole, and that means, as I said, not just settling the case, but doing it in a more positive way, in a way that's more productive. We deal with a lot of emotions and a lot of anger, and there's always a few cases this isn't going to apply to for people that deal primarily or sometimes solely with emotions, and that refuse to let their better judgment or their intellect come into play. Those cases will always be out there, and there's probably little or anything any of us can do to help them. But they're the minority. In most cases, we deal with people who, underneath the anger and the emotions, all of which are appropriate, all of which are part of the human being, there is a desire to want to resolve matters for the benefit of not just themselves, but their children and the future family unit. So, few changes you'll notice in this month's flu in terms of some of the things that are a little bit different. And starting next month, we'll be making a few more changes in terms of repositioning this into something more based upon what I believe lawyers really do and what I hope helps the practice of family law. I'm open to ideas, comments, suggestions. My email is gherman@loebherman.com. Please send me your thoughts on it. If you like it, I'd like to hear it. If there are things you'd like to see more, I'd like to see it. If there are things that you think would make this even a better presentation, I'd like to do that. I will continue the Wisconsin law updates because I think that's critical for lawyers to know what's going on. But, there aren't a whole lot of them anymore. There are not a lot of cases that come down. Look at this month, not a single one again. And it's getting more and more common that the Wisconsin court section is, sorry, nothing this month. But when something does come down, I will include that. We'll include some family law online. I think that's been helpful to lawyers, and a lot of that affects our primary focus in this. And we'll see where it goes from there. So again, send me your comments, suggestions, even criticisms. Like to hear from you. Thank you, and I hope all of our subscribers have a happy and healthy and a good 2020. Friendly reminder to subscribe to Wisconsin Family Law Case Finder. Subscription information is on screen for you. We have over 1,600 family law cases in Wisconsin, many cases from out of state, organized into 135 different family law subject areas. You can search by the word, search by the area, search by the case. It's an outstanding resource, and if you practice family law in Wisconsin, you ought to subscribe to it.